It makes a lot of sense that the driest continent on Earth should be making a priority to rehydrate itself. You know, I can't imagine any land manager in Australia wouldn't want to be more attuned to the landscape and knowing how to rehydrate it. We're the ones that should be leading the way in understanding and sharing that. So having this knowledge and being able to apply it, I think is significant. And it's a practice and a method and principles that apply to every square inch of Australia. G'day, Charlie Arnott, 8th generational regenerative farmer here at Hanaminno, Boorowa. I grew up here on our very conventional farm, and in the early 2000s when we had an extended dry period, we like to call them, when I was watching paddocks blow away in the wind and started to question, you know, was that a natural event? Was that of my doing? What could I do about it? And I decided at one point that no, it wasn't something I had to accept. What I really had to do, I felt very passionate about, is finding out how I could do a better job of managing the landscape. One of the wonderful things about natural sequence farming is that whilst we can graze our landscape as best we can, and we sort of time control graze or holistically manage our pasture, you're always going to be limited by how you use the rainfall. We can't influence a lot of the things. We can't influence markets, we can't influence the weather. But what we can change is how we have prepared the landscape for weather events. What we've done is a lot of work around our homestead, in the kilometres around where we are. You drive past every day, you can observe and see these changes in the landscape. You can see how water's flowing. You can see how this contouring technique is retaining moisture in the landscape and rehydrating the landscape. The paradigms we're talking about changing are large ones, and I always say that the first paddock you should change is the one between your ears. You know, that's where you hold your paradigms, and so it may take a number of steps, it may take some questions, and I think that's a really critical thing. You've got to go at your own speed, your own comfort, and that's again going to come back down to your budget, time frames, who's on board, and being really clear of your vision and what you actually want to get out of it. Australia is a vast continent, and again, nothing works without water. So it seems pretty clear to me that the farmers who are interested enough to look at these sort of methods, care enough about nature and the environment, they're generally the ones producing the better food, the more nutrient-dense food, because they're in cleaner environments, they're more robust, they're more resilient, the animals are happier, and generally the people are happier too. So anyone who eats food, essentially, I think, needs to support this sort of methodology, and let's rehydrate Australia.